Well, summer is right around the corner, and I have Pete Koss. He is dairy specialist working out of that Seymour office for Allied Cooperative. Pages on the calendar turn. Heat stress. What are some of those signs that we should be looking for when we're out checking on those cows?
Things we need to look for would be respiration rates on lactating cows. Normal breathing is like 45 breaths per minute, and we know as temperatures go up and they get under more heat stress, if we start experiencing them breathing more than 60 times a minute, we know they're experiencing heat stress. Also, things you can do is if you have infrared guns, you can measure the skin temperature, and typically if we have skin temperatures over 100 degrees, we are seeing signs of heat stress.
What about some of that new technology out there? Is that helpful when it comes to watching our cows and making sure they're healthy?
Yes, there are different monitoring programs out there through different companies that can monitor daily temperatures of the cows so you can have a better handle on what cows are doing.
Checked on those cows and feel like we need to take some action to help them out and deal with the heat stress. What are some of the things that you recommend as a dairy specialist?
Things we look at, when we walk through barns in warmer weather, is airflow. So again, if we don't have fans, we look at adding fans. If we're in a stanchion barn, just trying to get the air moving by adding fans. Putting fans where animals lay will help them lay and rest better. We know we can put them over the feed alley also, but we know that they will eat more. But it also will help make them stand longer, which could be a little bit harder on their feet. Holding areas, I think that's the number one place, on some of these farms where we experience the most, because it's an area where we bring animals into and they're bunched up to get milked, and they give off a lot of heat. So yes, if we can start in one place on a farm, if they don't have sprinklers or fans in the holding area, that would be the first place to start, and moving out into the barns. The one thing we have going for us, it is our cool nights. As long as, the temperatures at night can stay below 65 degrees, cows can manage a little bit better. They'll change their eating habits to maybe eating more at night during the cooler weather. But as soon as we start losing our cool nights, the stress levels from the heat continue to build.
What about feed when it comes to the stress? Is that also an indicator if a cow is under some pressure, when they just aren't bellying up to the trough like they need to?
Yes. When heat becomes a stressor on animals, we'll see a decrease in dry matter intakes. And we know with the loss of dry matter intakes, that can affect milk production, fertility, feed intakes, body temperature, respiration rates, and lying times. Feed side of it, yes, we can maybe make a little bit more energy and protein-dense feed for them. Also, maybe looking at adding a more buffering agent to that diet, and also, maybe adding some potassium to help to provide more electrolytes. Cooperative has a product called Cool Cow. It has beta-carotene in it, which helps cows hydrate. It has some beta-glucan, chromium, and beneficial yeast in it to hopefully create a better ruminant environment through the heat stress.
And now we've been talking about watching for heat stress. We've been talking about the fans. We've been talking about feed. But what's the number one thing that we need to have when we're taking care of our cattle?
Water. Water is a huge part. It's like you and I, when things get hot, we need to stay hydrated. When you look at a lactating animal, and as they get bigger and produce more milk, there's a lot of fluid that they need. So make sure you have plenty of water space available in really hot days. If there's tanks or troughs that you can put into some areas to create more space for them to hydrate, because that animal during heat stress could be drinking up to 40-50 gallons of water a day.
And keeping those troughs clean and fresh water flowing for these cows. And that's some great advice from Pete Koss. He's a dairy specialist working out of the Seymour office for Allied Cooperative. And that's our program on this Wednesday morning. I'm Joe Welke.